It's the BFS fan page Rampage. The BFS fan page Rampage with Jaret and Daniel from Twitter. They're so good.
Hi guys, welcome to episode 8 of the BFS fan page Rampage. My name is Daniel Cotton from Twitter, and I'm here with Jaret.
It's me. Man, look at us go. We've done 8 this year. It's pretty darn good. Pretty happy for us to do this.
Yeah, we're on top of things, and that's in a year with 3 tours. I mean, I see you more than some members of my family now, I think.
3 UK tours. And then we've done so much in the US as well. So it's gosh.
Oh shit, yeah, and I came over for that as well. So yeah, I really do. Definitely the members of my family I see way less than you.
Yeah, I agree. See, now you know that's kind of what it's like to be in a band. It's oh man, dude, I'm yawning for a reason. It has been such a crazy year. I mean, just like this has been kind of like the busiest year for me since like 2007.
That's crazy.
As far as like band stuff is concerned. But I think that's good. There's a lot of stuff happening and lots of stuff to talk about here today on the BFS fan page Rampage.
Well, that's good. Why don't we jump in with that? What's the latest with Bowling for Soup? What's coming up?
Man, latest with Bowling for Soup. Gosh, everybody, first of all, what a great tour we had over there for the Almost Christmas tour. I mean, it was kind of a last-minute idea based upon the way that things are lining out. We had some plans for 2019. Then we did announce Reading and Leeds, which sort of threw a wrench. I don't know if you guys say throw a wrench in the UK, but... kind of threw a wrench on touring plans because that's pretty much what they expect us to promote as being kind of one of the bigger, not, and I don't mean that as a fat joke, bands on the bill. And so that basically was like, man, well, we're not going to get to come back over in 2019. It doesn't look like as, for a regular tour. So gosh, let's see what we can do. Let's do this Almost Christmas thing. And it was really fun. I mean, I think that could be a regular thing. I mean, I think by the end of it, like it was really starting to feel like, okay, this is a deal. This is kind of an event. And, as always with me, ideas are flowing and starting to think about, could we do this, a few times, could we do a few shows next year? And so we'll see what happens. But it was awesome to have Patent Pending back on the road with us. And obviously taking out your girlfriends over there for the first time was great. Great tour. And so what are we doing now? The DVD, I believe, is like, as we said, I put this in a Facebook message because I know some people get a little frustrated when things get delayed. It's just not our band. Our band just puts stuff, we're overly informative, I think. And so a lot of times it just like the buildup happens and then there's delays, but everything gets delayed. It just does. And so what happened was this last time we thought we were going to have it out by the 7th of December, and the DVD authoring, which I guess is sort of like how it switches from track to track or how it's labeled or something like that. Apparently, I mean, they didn't even send it to me. So apparently it was bad enough to where I didn't even need to say that's terrible. So that needed to be completely redone. And so kind of that plug got pulled while I was gone, but that's going to come out very soon. And I have seen it. It's great. It's really, really cool because it was the last tour that we did over there. And, we had that huge video screen back behind us. So like when you're watching the show, it's almost like it's in 3D. It's really hard to explain, but it's super cool. And so that's going on. And, we're about to go into starting to prepare for the 25th anniversary celebration. And that will include a new album, which we will start on very, very soon. And a 4-day extravaganza here in Texas for the celebration of our anniversary, which we will also be announcing soon. In fact, I think I'm going to get permission to leak it before it goes on sale. So be watching the fan page for those details, because that's 100% where I'll do it first. But it looks like, again, it's going to be about a 4-day event, a Thursday through a Sunday, first part of June, and all in one location, with a hotel discount right off the premises, and just a big Texas weekend and celebrating a quarter century of Bowling for Soup. So yeah, so we got that and planning our summer tour as well, and Reading and Leeds, and as far as Bowling for Soup, that's kind of it. I mean, we're just moving steadily along as we do.
Awesome. So before we get into things, let's throw over to Fiona for her to announce the poster of the month.
Fiona, how are you, and what you got for us today?
Okay, this one I would want to go to Steve Rice. He's a long-time page member, and he's always really active. And he did the 2 fan page banners that you've probably seen a couple of times. Yeah, so I'd like it to go to him this time, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Steve Rice, old school, actually. He was I believe, the highest officer in the BFS Army when we were doing the fan corps thing.
Yeah.
And I think his name was Zio. And I used to think that I used to call him Zoe. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, because I didn't know what Zio was. I still don't, to be honest. But so this month it will go to Zoe for being awesome. He came to a couple of shows out there on the tour too. It was great to see him. And Steve, those banners were awesome. And if you haven't seen them, go to the fan page and check out the photos of that.
Awesome. Well, Steve, message me your address and shirt size, and we'll get some stuff out to you.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Fiona.
Just before I go, I just want to say a quick thank you to Jaret just for everything he's done for the fan page this year, because it's been awesome everything he's done. So
oh my goodness, I need to thank you guys, but I'm glad. It's nice to see, and like I said it before, it's nice to see the other band members interacting as well and getting on there and stuff, and it's just been great. And I love the positivity and just the overall support of one another, and it's a great community more than it is anything. So thank you for all your hard work, and let's go get to 6,000 in a few months.
Yeah, mad. Brilliant. Thank you. Have a great Christmas.
Thanks, Fiona. You too.
Thanks.
Bye.
First thing to look at is Bowling for Soup in the news. Tons of articles about the Reading and Leeds announcement that I've not seen you guys mentioned in as many articles about anything ever before. It's crazy.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's a huge thing, and I know that it was the first thing you guys did over here, but I think it's grown a lot since then as well. But also, it's a way more mainstream thing than download. So
yeah.
It's got way more appeal, and with you guys being one of the first bands announced, I think that's done great things, press wise.
Yeah, it's weird for us because I think, when you're a part of something like that and you've been a part of other festivals, you start to see other festival lineups come out around the same time, and you're like, man, I mean, gosh, that one would be fun to play, or that one would be fun to play, and I get it. I feel like this Reading and Leeds, though, if you sort of went back to back when we first did it the first time 15 or so years ago, I remember the lineup being really diverse back then, I mean, but I will say that I think, and maybe it was the day that we were on too. I mean, that's just it. I don't remember who were on the other days. I know we were on the same day as Slipknot and Blink-182. So maybe that was just, it seemed like we sort of fit in more.
Yeah.
But so at first when the announcement came out, I was just like, okay, where do we fit in all this? But I mean, then you start to just think about it. I mean, that's kind of the way that festivals historically are sometimes, and I think that I think we've been doing Slam Dunk and Download the last several years, or several times that we've done festivals where it's more of a niche sort of thing, where everybody on your stage is in your genre and that kind of thing. Especially at Slam Dunk, or when you go to Download, at least it's more leaning in the whole rock thing. Whereas here, like you said, you've got pop, things like that, and we've done those kind of festivals before. And so, I'm not scared. I'm excited. I think it's going to be great, and I think it's going to be cool on like I said, on our 25th year to go back to where it all started for us in your country. Man, I mean, I think that's pretty special, and so I really do hope that we can do some great things and just make it a night to remember for sure.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really cool. Next thing in the news is yet another venue closure article that you guys have been mentioned in. A punk club called Continental in New York is closing down after opening in the 70s, I think, and
wow.
You guys were named as one of the scene favorites that's played there.
That's crazy. Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you about something. I didn't know about that. anytime you're mentioned in a article about a club like that in New York City, where it's like, I mean, that's a really big deal. So, I mean, for us to, because the last several times that we've played there, I mean, the last 10 years, really, we've not played that place. It's been more of, the theaters and things like that. So,
yeah, the article said they actually stopped doing shows in 2006. So you guys were probably one of the last bands to play there as well.
Must have been. Yeah, and I think I actually know, now that I think about it, I do remember that show. It was pretty great. It was awesome. Hey, you know what I forgot to mention in the what's going on with us thing is Ireland. Oh my God. If you have not gotten your tickets for Belfast or Dublin, you got to get them. Seriously, Belfast almost sold out in 24 hours, which that never happens to us. And Dublin is not far behind. So if Belfast isn't sold out by the time you hear this, it's going to be. And I don't know whether there's a bigger venue to move to or not. So if you want to come see us in Belfast or Dublin, go get those tickets. That'll be right around it's in April, I believe, right? Yeah, April,
end of April.
Right around the time where we're playing over at a festival in Belgium. So, like I said, go get those things, and let's get back to the news, Daniel.
Okay, next thing in the news is alternative press have covered a story about musicians' unusual talents. It seems, I get the impression that you did one interview with them one time a year ago, and they are really dragging everything out by just doing these lists. So they're doing great, really. It's fucking genius.
Yeah.
Because you must have answered like 10 questions, and they're going to make 10 articles out of it. It's crazy.
I don't know.
So your unusual talent is that you can make a matchstick disappear and then reappear from anywhere you want, which sounds to me immediately dirty in some way, but I don't think it was supposed to be.
No, I can't. And I can do that. And
I've seen that. I can verify it.
Yeah, it's my one and only magic trick, and it's pleasing to all audiences. And so yeah, I can make it dirty if I want to. The next thing that I want to do is pull it out of my ass and it lights. That'd be amazing. Like I make it disappear and then I pull it out of my ass and all of a sudden it just, hey, anybody need a light? That'd be great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody would want that light though. So
you're probably right. It'd probably stink. But yeah. But yeah, I guess I was probably really fishing for that one. By the way, I don't even know because I can do pretty good impressions. So I probably would have said that, and I'm really good at impersonating my friends. So
yeah. But they probably just asked you that question 5 minutes after you happened to have done that matchstick trick. So
it was fresh on the brain. You're probably right.
Next thing is the Dublin dates, which we've already talked about. I believe this is your first time playing Belfast in 8 years. So
it's been a bit.
Guys, if you're listening, as Jaret was just saying, these for sure will sell, and the venues are way smaller than we're used to. Over here, I think Dublin's like 600-700 capacity, and it's when I came to see you in Dublin on your day off on the Steel Panther tour, I think that was one of the best shows I've ever been to. Those shows, there's something about those smaller rooms that are just makes it a whole different vibe. So yeah,
it's kind of like like that room is kind of like a Bristol, but it's like a shrunken. Because it's
absolutely.
A wall of people because the people like there's like three, there's the floor, and then there's a few steps up, and then there's those people, and then there's the balcony. So it's just like a wall of people.
Yeah,
and,
it's very much like Rock City as well.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, except for less stairs to stand on.
Yes.
But
yeah,
I'm excited about that. That's gonna be a blast.
And the final thing is 101 reviews of the Almost Christmas tour that are all fantastic and seems to have gone over really well. And like you were saying, I think it certainly seems to be a good idea for a regular thing. It was definitely a topic of conversation on this tour that we don't really get things like that in the UK from American bands because you guys want to stay home for Christmas, and that makes sense. So we don't really see a lot of bands that do that kind of thing usually do a special hometown show. I mean, obviously Pat and Pending have been doing that for years, and we kind of all just accept we'll never see things like that because everyone wants to stay home over Christmas. So
I will say though that like we did notice though like just the timing of it, that like around December 1, you guys are ready. So you get over there around the 1st of December and do that for a few days. It was really great and a lot of fun. And I thought that that the Christmas songs went over really well and just a good vibe, great vibe, and just good energy. And when you're having bands like Not Your Girlfriends and Pat and Penny, that's going to happen anyway. And I definitely would know now sort of like where to go from a production aspect, you know, as far as like what to do. Cause I was kind of like at the mercy of just really whatever anybody told me, but now, it should be fun. But yeah, I mean, super happy with all the reviews and quite frankly, every show was awesome. So no stinkers.
I read a review of the Leeds show, and the Freddie Mercury impersonator went down very well.
That was amazing, actually. That was really, really cool.
I think the first few days that light switch on thing happened, I think there was kind of a lull in the show from you because you didn't really understand it, because I guess you guys don't have the Christmas light switch on thing in America.
No. But he had explained it to me. I mean, I kind of understood it, but I guess I thought that people would think it was funnier that like we were hitting the switch and all of the lights went out instead of on or whatever. And
I genuinely we got a couple of days in, 2 or 3 days in. And, you know, I mean, I was busy on stage and I was ordering food and all of those things. So I'm not entirely 100% sure what's going on at all times in the show. But the first night when the lights went out, I was just like, oh, someone unplugged something. Like, you know, something's gone wrong.
Right.
The second night, I was like, weird. I wonder if that button really is broken in some way. And then night 3, I was like, okay, this has got to be a bit. This must be a bit.
That's so funny that you didn't know. Yeah, and it had the spark sheet out of it and everything.
A few different people messaged me and said, is that happening on purpose? And I said, I really don't know, and I'm not going to ask because it's funnier if I don't know.
Right.
So I
just
didn't ask. But like, I mean, you know, by night 4 or 5, I was like, this 100% is not, you know, it's not a coincidence. The lights are all going off at that time on purpose. But I mean, even, you know, Jamie messaged me like, oh, maybe tonight will be the night that the lights work. So he mustn't have got it either.
that is so funny. Like I would have assumed that everybody knew that it was supposed to be funny. I mean, but what are you gonna do? I mean, they can't all be winners.
I think the thing I enjoyed about watching that was knowing that you were kind of making a joke that you didn't really understand yourself. So,
right.
Because you didn't know why the bit was funny, but you'd just been told it would be funny, and I knew that was what was happening.
Totally.
So I could see, like, as the tour went on, your delivery of it got better as you started to understand more what was supposed to be happening.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's like a huge thing here, where we'll have, like, you know, E-grade celebrities will come and switch on your town's Christmas lights, and it's a huge thing.
That is so. I mean, well, I definitely understand it more to make it funnier next year.
There you go. Well, the joke might be ruined now, but it's okay.
So. Maybe so.
So next thing to look at is Bone with Soup in history, and a recent one this time, 18th of December, which, if you're listening, that's not just a random date, that's today's date. 18th of December 2017, and I've only picked this because you posted the Spotify Wrapped stats on that day last year, and I just thought it was interesting to look at that, because you posted them again a couple of days ago, and you've gone up by 2 million fans in 12 months, which is fucking crazy.
It's fucking crazy. I got that while I was on vacation, and we're up 16%, like in all categories or whatever. And this is a band again that's going to celebrate 25 years next year. And I got a text from my daughter who's 16, and really, she's amazing. She's a great person, but she doesn't give a shit, you know, like, and she was just like, wow, Dad, I'm so proud of you. This is cool, because it was something she could understand, you know, like, she doesn't know, you know, if I tell her how many records we've sold or whatever, she doesn't understand the impact of that or what that means, but she can look at because she looks at all of the bands that she likes, she looks at their Spotify number, hey, here's their number 1 song and here's how many it's had. She had perspective on all of that, and it was really, really cool. And, you know, so obviously, I mean, it's very, again, it's one of those things. You just can't take anything for granted, but just to be in a new technology and to have survived, the death of, a few different mediums or whatever in music, and to be able to still be successful and people to listen to you and to be able to, have a career doing this. It's amazing. And so thank you, everybody who streams us or rates us or whatever. I mean, it really does make an impact now, and it's getting better and better. I mean, you'll notice most people are going for streams more than they're going for sales now. It's a different world we live in. And so for us to be where we are in that world already, just one of those things, counting our lucky stars every day.
Next thing to talk about, Bowling for Soup on TV. Now, in the last episode, I inadvertently insulted you guys when I mentioned that I was running out of TV appearances to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So I posted in the fan page to ask if anyone had any suggestions, and nobody fucking did. So it's not just me.
We're just running out of shit to talk about.
I think the reason I'm struggling is because I'm sure you guys have been on TV 101 million times, but all in the States. So we don't, when you guys are on like, some kind of morning news show or whatever, we don't see that. We don't know what that is. So I'm struggling, and genuinely, if you're listening to this and you have stuff you want to hear about, then please reach out, because I'm at this point, I'm going off things I can find on YouTube.
Yeah.
For now, and I've split these into two parts, and you probably know what the second part is that's coming next time. But now let's talk about your Jimmy Kimmel performance in 2003 when you guys played Summer of '69. First question from me is, why the hell did you play Summer of '69?
Well, I want to add to what you just said first, because it's not insulting at all, but you have to think about this. Like, again, when we were on all those shows, if we were on all those shows now, they would be all readily available. But everything wasn't going to the internet back then. And in fact,
totally.
And in fact, when we were really doing a lot of television, which is between 2003 and about 2008, so about that 5-year span, networks didn't want it out there. And in fact, if you were on ABC or whatever, they did get shut down right away for copyright or whatever. And, I know those networks all regret it now, but how could they have known? So we just were popular at a time where, there just was no fan archive for people to be able to just put that shit out there and for you to be able to go back and listen to it anytime.
Yeah, and I think it's like, even I'm of an age where I take that for granted, and I have to remind myself that there was a time when not every single thing was videoed and posted online, you know, and that about 10 years ago and before, you can't see a video of every single song of every single live performance of every band at every venue,
Absolutely. Jimmy Kimmel, that one, we actually weren't on there to play Summer of '69. We were on there to play Girl All the Bad Guys Want. And I think I've told this story before, but the label at the time were just like, you got to wear the suits, you got to wear the suits. And we had worn the suits on so many things at that time that I was just like, you know what, guys, we set the suits on fire. We burned them so that we would never have to wear them again. And we got there to do the show, and they were like, "Oh, that's fine. You're in LA where we can get anything." So they found us new suits, like these cream-colored tuxes or whatever. So we're wearing those. We go out. We do Girl the Bad Guys Want, and then what you would do is you would have a second song prepared, and if the show ended at a certain time, they'd throw back to you. And you'd get to do, and this is super common actually. This happens like on pretty much like any news network show that you do. Like if we do like a local news thing here in Dallas, they'll always come to you first. You do like a blurb thing. It's like a 10 seconds of a song. Then you play your actual song. Then at the end, they're like, let's let Bowling for Soup play us out. So kind of like that thing where you don't expect to get as much of it in, but just for some reason that night, we did get, I think, most of that song played. And again, it was totally a label thing, not my idea, not my choice. It's 2003, 2004, and we had just done the Grammy thing, and I just want to be successful, so there were times where I wouldn't listen, and there were times when I would, and I don't really have any regret for playing it, but it's just the thing was, back then, to me, everything that was presented to me in such a way where if I didn't do it a certain way, then our career was over, you know, and it was always be like that. Well, if you turn down this show and you go home and see your family, I'm sorry, but, you know, the station's going to pull your song. And this is one of those things where, you know, you need to cater to a broader audience. So play Summer of 69, you know, kind of thing. And so we did it. And again, we had a great time. And, you know, I didn't walk away from there going, oh, fuck, we did Summer of 69. But, you know, if I'm looking back on it and we would have or could have done Life After Lisa or Summer or, you know, Punk Rock 101 or something, you know, I would have rather. But instead, we didn't. And, but it was a great night you know, and we had a great time afterwards. And there you know, it's a wacky time zone situation, so by the time you tape, you know, it doesn't come on until much later, so then you can kind of go drink a lot, and then you can go home and actually watch it on television. So we did that. Right. We went to the hotel and watched it with a bunch of label people and had a big party. It was good fun. But yeah, that's the story behind it. It was just one of those things where that's what we got asked to do, and we did it. So
were both of the performances in the show? Like the Girl All the Bad Guys Want performance was in that as well?
It is, yeah. The Girl the Bad Guys Want was actually in the show. So that one's a little easier to find, probably.
Literally, I just Googled Bowling for Soup Jimmy Kimmel, and the Summer of 69 was the first one, which is... that I didn't even realize that you'd played 2 songs on the show. That's why I brought this one up, really.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is that we were on that show for High School Never Ends as well, and I think 1985. Like, I think we did it 3 times, but I'm not positive on the 1985. I know we did High School Never Ends for sure.
Yeah, I've seen those. So we can talk about that another time if we run short on TV material, which, you know, it seems like we will.
Maybe let's just start a new category.
Yeah, I actually, you know, I have to give a huge shout out to Rod and James, because he gave me the idea of we switch this category out with talking about the music videos, you know, which I think is a great idea, and actually maybe something people would like to hear about more. So yeah, I mean, we may do that, you know, within the next couple of episodes, switch this out and start talking about making music videos and stuff.
Sounds great. I mean, there's great stories about every one of those videos. So
yeah, quite sure.
Bring it on.
I'm gonna start with like just lyric videos and like ones that you didn't appear in.
We didn't really do anything.
It's really difficult for you. Just
totally.
Like tell me about the making of this lyric video.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here's what happened. I sent an email to this guy, and he got the lyrics wrong a couple of times. That'll be the extent of the story.
Okay, good stuff. Okay, I can't wait for that. The next thing to talk about is what's Jaret listening to right now. I don't know why I always, like, I'm reading from my notes, so I always read it out like that as if I'm not talking to you. What's Jaret listening to right now?
What am I listening to right now? Well, I'm listening to a lot of Not Your Girlfriends. Because I've worked a long time on that record. I actually also I've been pounding my head into this a television show thing that I'm working on that I should be able to announce on the next fan page, Rampage, and I'm excited about that. So musically, it's been a little bit tough. So I've been but I've been doing a bunch of throwback stuff. I broke out like all the old Rancid albums recently and kind of just listened to them all back to back. And man, that's a great trip. Just an awesome voyage to do. Yeah. It just, everything is just so great. And that's kind of it. I mean, again, I always, you know, I've always got my Frank Turner on and things like that. We've been listening to a bunch of Christmas music though around here. I mean, anytime the kids are in the car, we're wanting to hear some Christmas music. And in fact, Emma and Jack and I were in the car yesterday, and they played Even Santa Needs a Break Sometimes, which have them on there when so Emma's about 8 in that, and Jack is about 5. So maybe they're 4 and 7 or 5 and 8. But so funny to hear them talking, and Emma again, so funny. She's starting to kind of realize just what stuff is, and she goes, in that song, maybe Even Santa Needs a Break Sometimes, they're talking about what they think he does during this break. And then, I have her go, well, then after he's done with that, he probably, and then I go, well, it's unfortunate, but he usually fights a summer cough. And she goes, that's really clever how you like completed my sentence and you had me like lead in like that. And I go, yeah, I mean, I know what the hell I'm doing, kid.
Yeah. She's realizing that actually Dad's a business genius.
Well, I think that is what I think I've told you this before. I think Even Santa Needs a Break sometimes is lyrically one of my best flipping songs ever. I really do. Like when I say he helps the Easter Bunny with calendar arranging because the date of Easter or the day of Easter Sunday is always changing, is brilliant because it's never, nobody ever knows when Easter is,
I sometimes get a little bit scared when I look at you, instead of looking at you as the singer in the band that I like, or my boss, or my friend. If I look at you as like from a business perspective, it's sometimes intimidating how good you are. I appreciate we can't talk about exact details, but there was a conversation backstage on this tour with business people where I was just like, holy fucking shit, this guy's a genius. Like, the reason it's scary is because I'm like, wait, is he manipulating me like that? Like, is he using those techniques on me?
That's so funny because the band guys I've heard them have that conversation before, and obviously taking the piss out of me. But like, is he just driving us like a little bus around, like, just making us his little pawns and his, but no, it's, I pride myself on the business side of this, as you know, man, I really do. I think that as if you run it like that and you just make sure that everybody's always taken care of and when there's problems, you just solve them, then it keeps a happy camp. And, the guys know that I do that and I have a good reputation for being a nice guy. So, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, can't fault you for it. There's times when you will ask me to do something on tour, and like you'll say it in a really nice way, or you'll suggest that. I mean, just for the guys that are listening, something you won't get to see ever, but I'm gonna let you in on, is the way Jaret asks for a drink. Pretty much 90% of the time, backstage, is he'll say, "Hey Daniel, when you came in here, were you just thinking, I bet Jaret's really thirsty. I wonder if I should make him a drink." And sometimes I'll be halfway through doing something for you, and I'll be like, "Wow, that motherfucker really got me. He really did. I'm really doing this, not even thinking it's my job. I'm doing this thinking like, yeah, that guy deserves this right now. I'm going to help this guy out."
Yep, exactly. Yeah, it's like if somebody's having a chicken nugget, you could just be like, "Hey, did you want me to have one of those chicken nuggets? Did you want me to have one of those, or were you were thinking you're not going to be able to finish them, right? You want me to have one?"
No offense, but I bet you are the worst guy in the world to be married to. Like, for sure.
Well, I can't really pull this on her. She's way smarter than me, but
that makes sense. I know, I've met her, so yeah.
Yes, you have. Yes.
So next thing to talk about is the story behind the song, and as voted for on this very Christmassy podcast, Cornerstone on Christmas.
So this is a great story. It's pretty simple, but I love it. I just put out I needed to write a Christmas record. We were on Warped Tour. It was summer. I was kind of like having trouble getting the vibe of it, but I knew I needed to do it because we needed to record it as soon as we got back. And it was hot outside. And so I just put out on Facebook, anybody got any ideas for a Christmas song? If you've got an original Christmas song, if you've got an idea, I'll put your name in the liner notes and I'll send you a t-shirt. Yeah. So I got some great ideas. Some really great ones. And actually, Even Santa Needs a Break sometime was one, and Cornerstone on Christmas was the other that I think I used. The guy who sent me this idea was another improv comedian, and is the guy who would end up hiring me to be Chuck E. Cheese. True story.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's how cool the story is. But anyway, he was just like, "Hey, why don't you write a song about all of the stuff that you have to go get, like he goes, like the things that, all the kids have their toys and stuff, but what about like beer and things like that you got to go and get. The idea was sort of roundabout. But then I started thinking, it's like, cause I had a friend that worked at a 7-Eleven, and a 7-Eleven is like I don't know what you guys would call it, but it's just like
news agent.
Like a news agent. Yeah.
A local shop.
You go in and you can get a soda and a newspaper and a sandwich, and that's pretty much what they have. But if you want to buy things like medicine there, you pay a premium charge. If you want to buy, again, batteries are really, really expensive at those places. And so I had a friend that used to work there, and that was his big, they would just sell so many fucking batteries because nothing else is open. Of course, this day and age, you've got, so many other things are open all the time, Walmart and stuff like that. But
on Christmas Day,
yeah, they'll open up now. It's pretty nuts.
The jokes you make about everything closing at 3:00 in England, man, if you could be here on Christmas, fucking hell, you would just not believe it. There's nothing unless the staff in the store don't celebrate Christmas. And when I say don't celebrate Christmas, I mean they're another religion. That's the only reason that a shop would be open on Christmas Day. There is no other shop. We've no supermarket, we've no Tesco, we've no nothing on Christmas Day at all.
Yeah. So it's pretty new for things to start opening. Or what they'll do is they'll be open for part of it and then close or whatever. Christmas Day is a big one where not a lot is open, but you just never, you'd be surprised. You find stuff. But anyway, the idea of the song was for this guy to need all this stuff that he forgot and, to kind of get more expensive. But then I was just like, how to make it like the 12 days of Christmas. And so there's no real rhyme or reason to it, which is why the lyrics are so hard to remember and why I didn't get it right until the last night of the tour. And but then the punchline, we forgot the batteries, is like supposed to sort of tie it all in, because that's sort of the reason you went there in the first place. But yeah, that's where Corner Store on Christmas came from. Super proud of that one.
Yeah, I mean that's it. The funny thing for me when I'm preparing these podcasts and I have the vote in the fan page of what songs people want to hear.
Yeah.
There's always, no matter what songs are on the list, whatever the top vote is, there'll always be someone who says, that one's pretty self-explanatory. That's why I voted for this one.
Right.
And in most cases, I think, yeah, I agree. And in this case, Cornerstone on Christmas was the top voted one. And I can't remember who it was that said that, but I thought, yeah, this, like, how can you not figure out what this song is about yourself? Why do we need to hear the story behind this? But every single time I've thought that and someone's commented that, you've said, oh, there's such a good story behind this one. So, it's crazy. Yeah,
there's it's funny where they all come from. You just kind of never know. But yeah, those are all things that you could buy at like a 7-Eleven. So, it's, and some of it is more expensive than it should be. So, and that is kind of the idea.
Yeah. Last thing is Q&A with the fan page, and just to keep in line with the theme, first we're going to do some questions that are Christmas related in some way. So, Steve Rice said, Not Your Girlfriends seem to really hit off with the UK and BFS fans. What's the next step for them, and are there any plans for them to come back to the UK soon? And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to me and you and all of the guys in the band.
Awesome. Hey, Merry Christmas, Steve. Already working on some things. You might see them sooner than later. With them, I do have a few obstacles. I mean, Marin's still in public school, so we have to work around breaks and vacations and things like that. The other two are homeschooled, so we can do that. But I have to be careful how much they travel outside of the country just for child labor laws and things like that. But already talking about that. They had such a great tour. Next is a video for the next single, which is going to be Sometimes, which is on their EP. Single-handedly, the song that everybody, when they heard the EP, was like, this is the one you got to release, and yada yada. But I did not want to lead with a ballad, and so I wanted to make sure that people knew them as what they are, and you know, fun and energetic and all of that before we hit them over the head with emotion, because it's just like, you know, you want to make sure that, you know, that you're representing yourself out there.
Yeah.
And so now that they've had a chance to go out there and build those socials up and play all these songs live and show what they can do and have all of that stuff out there in the world, they can we can go and do more of a serious and slow song, and so that's the plan. And then start to write new music and try to actually, I mean, I think they would love to have something out by summer. And in this world that we live in these days, I don't see why that's not possible. So, but we are in sort of a catch your breath mode. I mean, they had a very busy summer, very busy fall. Obviously, this tour was crazy for them. They came back home and had a couple of really insane shows, and so everybody's just kind of okay. And they've got some really cool press things coming out that you guys will notice in the coming weeks. Which, I mean, some really big stuff. So kind of catch your breath and get ready and then just like me, hit the ground running 2019 and full speed ahead.
Awesome. I have two follow-up questions there. Firstly, is Sometimes the one that Liv wrote on her own?
Shit, it's not sometimes, it's somehow. I always say that. Bowling for Soup has sometimes. But yes, right. She brought it in and I started doing what I do. I arrange, you know, I start to produce it and you know, I take the parts, and sometimes they're this. I would do it to any song that I was working on. But by the time I was done, I was like, you don't need me on this one. I mean, it's just done. I mean, the chords were perfect and the lyrics were great. And, you know, I don't think that I changed maybe one or two little subtle things that, you know, you would really never know. And, yeah, that's just all her. So, and she wrote that shit from the heart too.
So how do you feel that the first song everyone picked up on as being the standout on the album was the one you didn't write?
You fucker. To be honest, I think it's fucking great. I think it shows how talented she is and how talented the band are. It shows that I was right to get involved in this, and it shows that from where we started 2 years ago or a year and a half ago working together, where, you know, when she hadn't even written one song, it's shown the growth in that band, and that they're not just this novelty of a youngster, but they're a real band who just happened to be younger than a lot of people.
100%. And I mean, the first time I heard that ballad was on the tour, and I was like, wow, that's, you know, I've not heard this one before. This is an amazing song. And then looking at the EP later, I saw the writing credits, and I was, you know, fucking blown away that was all done on her own. And yeah, it's an amazing piece of music.
And for musician people out there, she actually made up her own tuning. So she came over and like she tuned the guitar to this certain chord that she's written the song in, and
wow,
it's some crazy alternative tuning, and she can't even tell you what it is. She just does it. So,
Jesus.
You know, I know.
So she wasn't thinking about live shows when she wrote that song.
No, and in fact, I meant to ask her dad, who's her guitar tech, like, how do you even get the guitar ready for that? Does she have to do it? You know, at least get it close, and then you just make sure that everything stays. Crazy. Fuck. Yeah,
that's crazy. Do you think, which certainly this is a story you've told before on the podcast, do you think that the effect that leading with When We Die had was a big impact on the decision to not lead with a ballad?
Man, I will tell you, you know, well, they didn't lead with When We Die. They pulled the plug on High School Never Ends over Christmas without giving it a real chance. And really all that song needed was a couple of months. And I know that because I know this business. But they just thought that ballad was a runaway hit. And yes, you're exactly right. I mean, I learned so much from that, but I didn't learn anything new. I learned what I knew in my heart, that's the wrong thing to do. Like we just literally just did Girl of the Bad Guys Want, Punk Rock 101, and almost talking about almost getting drunk and this and 1985, and Come Back to Texas, and we're going to go out there with some fucking serious song about like a relationship and then your relationship with your parents and shit, and like that's what people are supposed to fucking gravitate towards. Like I might as well fucking do American Idiot and go political. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's gonna buy that from me. I'm not Billy Joe Armstrong. You know, I'm the fart
I
joke
mean,
guy.
the irony of saying, I think rock and roll is really funny when it's serious, and then turning around and releasing When We
You're
Die.
exactly right.
as a
Yeah,
big
I mean,
single, you
well,
know.
to be fair, those are on the same album, so
Yeah, no, but you know, that's exactly my point. Is like,
well, I mean, you know, and you notice this, we followed that When We Die, the next single was I'm Gay. We were like,
Yeah.
fuck it. We're going to be naked on the cover, and we are nakeder than shit on the cover, sitting all over each other, just fucking drinking and being naked. And song called I'm Gay about just being happy and about how fucking just have fun, you know, and almost fucking with myself a little bit, you know, but you know, I like our ballads. I just don't think that it was the time, you know, I think that they could have actually even gone with a second faster single off that record, but you know, you live and learn. I can't, it's so hard for me to put myself back in those days because I know that those mistakes that they made have been, you know, the people that made those mistakes, the people that did pull that single have told me it was a terrible mistake. It's one of the worst mistakes I've made, right? And a lot of those people are doing really, really, really well, you know, so, you know, they probably didn't make many of them. I just happen to be one of them.
yeah, that sucks. But you know, I don't think you can say that it's gone badly.
No, everything's fine.
Yeah. Everything's fine, trust me.
Yeah.
Let's get back on topic Christmas wise. Sophie Carroll said on this tour, you played in some random places on the recent tour. I'm looking at you, Bexhill. Is there anywhere you enjoyed so much you'd try and get back to?
Bexhill, we could not do anything there. It was so flippin' cold. And just windy. We could not, I mean, like you had to go out and get our food and stuff, and I felt terrible. Well, and we got a shower across the street, and I was just like, you guys are all nuts. Like, I had showered the night before. It's like, you're crazy. Well, I mean, we also played at a bunch of places that we had played before. I really enjoyed Edinburgh. I thought that, you know, we had a walk around there and had a great time. Me and Rob went out, and that's when my luggage was missing, so I went on a quest to try to find, you know, clothes and toothpaste and shit, and just a beautiful city. Had a great time there. You know, again, like I said, a lot of these places we had played back in the day. Southampton's always been great. I was so freaked out by Southampton, by the way, because around that guild hall there used to be nothing. Like, it was outside of it was just more just gray buildings, and they've knocked all that shit down and just built all these great restaurants and bars and shit, and it was awesome. So. Man, we didn't have a stinker one. I'd go back to any and all those places anytime.
Yeah, awesome. I would like to vote that if we go back to Bexhill, it's sunny next time. So
Totally agree. Would love to go out there and see that beach.
Coastal cities in a summer tour. Okay,
Yeah.
That's the plan next time.
I'm with you.
Michael Price asks, what is your favorite Christmas song by another artist?
Favorite Christmas song by another artist. Well, I mean, so those of you who know me know that I whistle Frosty the Snowman year round. So I guess I would have to pick that one, but my favorite of all time, though, aside from that, is Cashing In on Christmas by Bad News. The guys from Bottom there in the UK and the Young Ones, and they had a band called Bad News, and their Cashing In on Christmas I think is so brilliant. It's just a song about how all of these artists scramble around to do all these Christmas songs because it's just the gift that keeps on giving. You sell them every year, and it's absolutely brilliant.
Lucy Murray asks, what would be your Christmas wish?
Lucy Murray wants to be better at guitar and the ability to cook and a new computer. That's a throwback to the People on Vacation. What would be your Christmas? A brilliant Christmas song, by the way, where we asked people who could be a part of the song, and then we put their Christmas wishes in a song, almost word for word as to what they wrote on the email, and it turned out really great. My Christmas wish, I'm gonna be cheesy. This is and I really hope that it doesn't come across as me taking the piss out of myself or whatever, but it's kind of coming true. I found out this year that I had 3 older biological sisters, and I met them in July, and here just in a few days, my wife and kids and I will go up and spend a day of the Christmas season with them and their families and stuff, and something that I could have never known was missing from my life, but now it's just such a cool thing to have as a part of me. So I'm gonna mark that as a wish come true, and I'm super excited about it.
That's heavy.
We'll
let's
wrap
do some fart jokes or something.
Yeah, let's wind it down, Daniel. Let's wind it down.
Matt Walker asks, who are the other 3 people on the cover of Merry Flipping Christmas Volume 2?
Oh, old tech guys. So one of them still works for us. Edo is in that, and the funny thing is that he's Jewish.
Seriously?
Yeah. So Edo is on that. Like I said, he's a Jew. And then the other one is Ginger, who is Greg Lobdell, who was our drum tech. And then Sweet Charlie is the guitar tech that we had. If you want to search for the show Roadies that was done right there in the UK, those are the 3 that were on that show. So that will tell you, about how long ago that was. We were still in the van over here in the US and doing buses over there in the UK. So crazy times.
And Sarah Louise asks, cheese with Christmas cake, yes or no? Now, this is a British thing that I just heard of for the first time recently, so I'm assuming the answer is no.
Tell me what it is again.
So do you guys have, like, Christmas cakes, like, Christmas pudding, I guess?
I mean, we have cake, but like cake to us is like birthday cake. Do y'all have that?
Yeah. But this is like a specific Christmas. Is my camera on? This is terrible podcasting, but can you see my visual?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever seen something that looks like this?
No.
Ignore this. Ignore that part.
Okay.
This is a Christmas pudding. No.
Okay.
Okay, so you guys, you won't eat cheese with it if you don't eat it at all, so that's fine.
Okay.
The answer, Sarah, is no. Jesus Christ, you've derailed the podcast.
No,
Sarah.
I will say this, Sarah. I'll pretty much eat cheese with anything, so yes.
Yeah, if I had any Christmas cake, there would be cheese
For
on
sure.
my plate. So.
Absolutely.
Okay, so final question. Rawdon wants to know, what's the official story about your lost suitcase?
Oh my God, it's the greatest story of all time. Not. Official story. I was in my bunk and they had already loaded in the first day. It was a little bit of a mess getting all of our luggage here because only 3 of us flew from Dallas. Well, we're not used to that. There's usually 4 of us that fly from Dallas in the band, and then we usually have a couple of crew guys. So we usually have, 5, 6 people checking bags. But here it was, we had 13 bags and 3 people to check them. So it was expensive and it was freaking confusing. Well, I got an email after I woke up from my nap after we got there that there was a bag missing and it was delayed or whatever, and we'd left the airport without it. Now, Marin was missing one as well, so it didn't really strike me as being anything crazy. They were going to get that back the next day. Marin from Not Your Girlfriends was missing a snare drum. So I texted the guys. I said, guys, what are we missing? We got to try to figure it out. And Gabe, our tour manager, just goes, man, it's got to be your personal bag because we have all the gear here. I'm like, son of a bitch, man. So I got up later and I start calling, and they apparently find the bag. It's in Philadelphia. They're going to get it. And it's even saying on the internet, like, this bag is still in Philadelphia, yada, yada. 3 days of back and forth with American Airlines, me, our manager, doing whatever we can to try to get, I bought new clothes, all of this. I'm walking by the bay, which is where we put all of the shit in the bus. And I just, at the end of the night, and I just go, wait a minute, what the fuck? I go, there's my bag right there. And I go up, sure enough, my luggage tag's on the thing or whatever. And I'm just like, you guys have all been like carrying shit right by my bag and like moving my bag out of the way to get other people's stuff for 3 days. And nobody noticed this, And okay. It's not like it's the same bag I carry all the time,
I need to interject, okay, because I would like to defend myself and some other crew members.
Okay.
because of the way you guys check bags, because, you know, most people won't know this because you don't travel as a band. You don't just check your own bag. You just check whatever the fuck because you've so many bags. Makes sense. I understand. Your bag had Gary's name on it.
Right, on the tag. Yeah, on the airline tag. Yeah.
Yeah, on the airline tag. So I had seen that, and I'd thought, that's Gary's bag. Yeah. Now, Gary is the only person who specifically, if he forgets to bring his bag, he will say, do you mind when you get a minute, will you go and get my bag? And I'd seen it, and I'd thought, oh, he's not awake yet, so I'm not going to take it, because then he'll go looking for it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, because he always gets his own bag. So I just didn't think anything of it. So I knew, in my head, I was like, yep, Gary's bag is in the bay. That's fine. not to worry. And yeah, so guys, Jaret did say to me as I was putting something in the bay, I'm pretty sure that's the bag now. Like, oh, that's Gary's. And in to be fair, you said, did Gary buy the same bag as me? So, you know, if you didn't know, I didn't fucking know. And you say that's the same bag you've had every time, but I was expecting your bag that was grey that has your warped rewind at sea tag on it. That's what I was looking for. So, well,
you know, and it the funny thing is then we came home and my bag beat me to Philadelphia and I was going to Miami, and so I had to go find it then. Then I came home from that trip, from my cruise, and I had all of my shit, and again I got a text that said one of my bags was delayed, but I had them all. So it was like every single time there was some sort of issue. But the main thing is I kept getting told I didn't have one of my bags, and I did. So anyway, a very big misunderstanding, all from one email. It's all 100%, you know, definitely not anybody's fault at all. I didn't get, you know, it is what it is. I was very happy to have that bag though. And you know, lesson learned. I was going to take a change of clothes and my carry-on, you know, and my shoes for the first show and all of that stuff. And, you know, I didn't have any of that shit, and having to play in sweatpants, I fucking hated it. And, so anyway, again, 25 years in, still learning. That's what you got to chalk it up to. I'm still learning, Daniel.
Well, you know, me too. So next time I know what bag I'm looking for, so it's going to be fun.
Actually, that one bit the dust, man. It finally ripped, and I think that one I might be putting it out to pasture.
Christ. Well, can you just before you travel in April, can you send me a photo of your bag?
I will do that for sure.
All right, well, that's around the hour mark, so we'll call it a day. Thanks for listening again, guys. Please follow me on Twitter. My username is Daniel Cotton, and look up my blog, danielcottonfromtwitter.wordpress.com. Jaret,
I'm everywhere. Jaret 2113. I'm on Instagram more than anything now, so come hang out with me there. I'm actually trying to do some shit, but and then check out my other podcast, Jaret Goes to the Movies, and the Rockstar Dad Show with actually Gary Wiseman of Bowling for Soup. New episodes of both each and every week, and we will see you on this particular podcast next month.
Awesome. Thanks for listening, guys. Please join the fan page if you're not a member.
Absolutely. Happy holidays. Happy New Year.
Bye, guys.
It's the BFS fan page Rampage, the BFS fan page Rampage with Jaret